I would like to talk with you today about an assessment instrument known as the Judgment Index. The Judgment Index is derived from the work of a man named Robert Hartman, who in about 1960 created a value instrument that is particularly acute in the way that it's able to look at human judgment, both in terms of individual human beings and their judgment and the judgment of groups. Hartman's instrument is different. It's unique. It is something that is not like most of the assessment instruments that you have heard about or used or that you are familiar with. First of all, the Hartman instrument is not an intelligent quotient instrument, or it is not looking at a person's IQ. I think that's very important because all of us have known people that have wonderful IQs, all kind of quote-unquote book learning, the ability to be able to make good grades, but yet people who may not have good sense or may not have good judgment. The instrument is also not a psychological profile, and so it avoids all of the legal entrapments and gray areas that are involved in doing psychological profiling in business and industry. And most significantly, it is not a personality instrument. It is not looking to see, for example, if someone is an introvert or an extrovert. It is an instrument that looks at the quality of judgment that a person brings to a circumstance. Sometimes in our work with the Judgment Index, we use a formula for work, and we say that work is made up of competent skill sets, the ability to learn from experience and from training how to do a job, that all work is made up of competent processes in which you try to surround people with a good way of doing things that is efficient and effective and economical. We believe that all work is made up of good information, and the more information that you can get about products or clients or processes, the better off that you will be. But we are convinced that the underlying factor that is involved in all successful work is good judgment. In fact, you can have all the skill sets and all the processes and all the information in the world, and if you do not have good judgment, you are vulnerable. I think this is a point that's very easy to make. If any of us have children or grandchildren, we want them to grow up and be very smart. We want them to be psychologically well-balanced. We want them to have good personalities. But any of us know that we want our children to have good judgment, or the rest of those assets can go south, sometimes even in tragic ways. The same thing is true of the people that work with us and work for us in business and industry. Across the course of the use of the Judgment Index, it has been used and applied in a number of ways. It has been applied to hiring to help you find better people. It has been applied to team building to help you more self-consciously construct teams that are intentional and are more productive. It has been used in many applications to help in succession development and in leadership training, anything that involves workforce solutions that involve people and their judgment. We have used this tool in very successful ways that have had large return on investment. There are also special applications that may be of interest to you. We've used this tool to help understand about safety, risk management, and workers' comp issues. There are studies that demonstrate that 90% of the accidents that occur in the workplace occur because of a lapse of judgment. We have used the special application of trying to understand better people's wellness. And again, there are studies that will demonstrate that upwards of 70% of health and wellness outcomes are dependent upon human judgment. We've been very precise at helping organizations look at stressors that impede judgment and innovation and creativity that will advance and enhance judgment. In what is here a kind of an elevator speech about what we are doing, I am only scratching surfaces. But if you look at the more than 40 years of work that has been done in every kind of business and industry that is out there, there have been amazing successes in being able to look at this particular one aspect of individual human beings and the groups that they make up. Most of you are aware of Jim Collins and his international bestseller, Good to Great. In that book, Jim Collins says that the key to success is finding the right person in the right seat on the bus. We believe with the Judgment Index that that right person is the person that has good skill sets, but also the person that has good judgment. We can help supply information about the judgment part. I have a friend where I live in Tennessee who is the leader of one of the most significant businesses in the whole state and in fact the entire region. And when he saw this Judgment Index and had his first exposures to it, he asked me if I understood adequately what we had here. And when I asked him to explain, he said, "For the last 2 generations, we have used the same kind of assessment instruments in looking at human beings and groups of human beings in our work. What I believe you have with this Judgment Index is the next generation human resource tool that will be as sophisticated as the processes and as the activities that we have created, the machinery that we work with, that is new to us and to a coming generation. This will be the tool that will be the huge differentiator." I hope that you'll be interested enough to look at this in more detail. I think if you do, that you will find the Judgment Index and its applications a comprehensive transformational instrument that can align with and help advance everything that you're doing in your business and organization. Finding the right person for the right seat on the bus means finding the person of the right skill sets, but finding the person of good judgment.